Okay, here we have a test. I've only got one little dot for sound, but there should be sound. All right. So he said give him 5 minutes. Um, I've done this is like the fourth one. I'm having trouble with sound. It gives you like four different microphone options. Only got the headset. Fuck. Why make it so hard? If I was a professional goddamn video person, I'd be working for a network. So give it a rest. Run the headset. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I never wear my hair down because it falls out incredibly. If I was a guy, I would be like suicidal. But it's because of thyroid disease. And it's pretty fucking terrible. Um, pretty radical the way it falls out. Uh, so before he gets here, I just have to keep an eye on Facebook in case he can't get through. Forgot to open the chat. Oh, hey, I got sound now. Oh, wait. All right. Um, I was explaining about that last video, and Louise Hay. Now, I learned about her. I think I counted back. I think it's 1984. It was shortly after Jane Roberts died. Tasha's here too. Yay! Look, Tasha. Tasha's here. Oh my God! Now I'm all nervous. And I hung out with a group in New York City who were some of the people who studied with Jane Roberts, and they're actually mentioned in some of her books. And she passed away, I think, in 1984. And my ass went to New York. My best friend lived there. My first trip to New York. Oh my God. Um, it was shortly after that because there was this other thing going on with my friends in New York because they were all show people. They were all gay men. And something terrible was happening in the gay community, and nobody was talking about it. People were dying. They were getting this weird disease, and nobody understood what it was about, and so it was terrible. But Louise Hay shows up. I don't know how they found her, and she is who started me with the like thyroid disease is blocked creativity. It's a belief system that manifests in the body as an illness or disease. She's the one that kind of started me on that. And to think that all these years later, I had not gone to a Louise Hay book. I just felt so stupid. And yet at the same time, I knew what belief system it was. I knew where it came from. I knew where it started. And when it's your parent, I mean, that's a really old blocked belief. And so what that first video was probably the first sentence of maybe 10 different videos because that's how my brain works anyway. But I mean, it's when I'm flipped out like that or spun, it's really bad. It's like putting your hand in front of a garden hose. It's just everything goes everywhere. And so that's where I was with that. I blew so much energy, I made myself sick for like 2 days because I am still chronically ill with thyroid disease. And we'll talk about that later. And, uh, I wouldn't mind my last years on this earth being a damn sight more well than I have been for the last 10 years. And so my friend Tasha, who was actually here, the sound is fine. I need some hair product. I don't usually wear my hair down because it falls out so bad. I don't know if you can see that. You wouldn't believe I've got maybe 1/5 of the hair I've had all my life. I have always had this big. So I miss my hair. And she said You know a lot of stuff. You need to just turn on the live stream and just talk." And I thought, "Oh my god, the one thing the whole world does not want me to do." But I knew she was right, and she's really good. You should check out her I'll put links to her stuff down here. But so that's where I've been, and I will tell you what, it was so hard not to come back and delete that video. I didn't even watch it again. I was like, "I don't wanna know. I don't wanna know." And, but I didn't because it's a warrior act of power. This is a little bit of power I'm taking back and standing in my circle. So, and seeing my oh, I love you too, Tasha. Go on your channel. Um, yeah, it's kinda cool. Uh, so my friend Paul has commissioned me to paint a skull for him. He has another piece of art that I did years ago. And I said, "Come on, we'll check this out." And it'll be like a Skype sort of, except I can't hear you. So it's not, but kind of is. And we'll talk about what he sent me. Back in the 90s, I had a studio. Um, I desperately wanted to name it Roadkill because it is where I got a lot of my pieces. But basically, I painted bones and I made fans, um, sticks. I had, God, I had an array of stains, all these different colored stains, and I would go out and find all these really cool sticks, and um, I just loved it. It was an excuse to be in the woods. But what I saw um, was is something I've always done, just made stuff out of nature things, you know. And back in Georgia, I made big wreaths out of kudzu. Um, and I sold like crazy. To me, that was crafting. That's not art. You know, to me, that was crafting. Well, I got to Montana and I painted a couple of skulls. I don't remember what I did. I think I made a fan. I don't know. I don't remember what I did first. And they were like, "Ugh, holy shit." And so I started making stuff because I moved from Georgia where I was making close to $20 an hour, which wasn't, you know, wasn't great money in Georgia, but to Montana where I was making $4.75. You know, I was making this minimum wage. It was just a completely different, that's why I have on everything it says, "Same planet, different world." So I started making things and I gave them as gifts, and then somebody had a store. I honestly do not remember how it got started. So it's gonna be this company, and, uh, this friend was gonna be my financial backer just to get it off the ground. Same thing, narcissist. 100% of the people who have ever helped me with my art have all had designs on stealing it. It's dead stuff. But I literally, that was when the big rush to live in Montana was. It was after Lonesome Dove, so it's early '90s, and there were just animals just littered the highway, just bones and deer and elk and, just all birds and hawks and eagle, everything was out, they were just killing them. And so my thought was, I'll do these skulls or bones and then get a, I always get a vibe from it while I'm making it. And I made a little brochure, what the animal bone told me, but the hope was to turn something dark into something of beauty that would teach people, you know, just slow down. Uh, so that was kind of how it started. And then it just went crazy. Before you knew it, I had two studios. I had stuff exhibited all over North America, Japan. It was just crazy. It and I had a bunch of stuff. And yeah, that's Tasha, or Tasha, and got really big. financial backer pulled some shit, and I pulled the rug out from everything. I shut it down and mailed shit back to people, and I haven't done any bone art since. Well, I did 1 or 2 pieces, uh, when someone I cared about very much got killed, and he had given me some bones, and I did those, and that's it. And then, this fella, is a friend of mine in England, and he has one of my drawings, in fact, which is very rare for anybody to say that. And, the piece he has was when I had to quit my job because of thyroid disease. "Oh, honey, I will go." Oh, she says, "My sis is scared to get him off the road." Honey, I had a roadkill kit. I had a suitcase, and it had scalpels, it had plastic bags, it had salt, it had tobacco, had all my medicine gifts, man, and I would, like, vroom, pull right off the road. Holy shit, did you see that? So, anyway, it wound up being, like, this 20-foot by I think it was a yeah, it was a 20 by 30 warehouse full of gourds and all this stuff that I love to make. So, that story ended, close that chapter. Fast forward a good bit long a while later, I went to fine art school, and, because of thyroid, I had horses. I had a truck. I had I was looking at a horse trailer to custom paint to go with my I rented a ranch, and in just a few years of thyroid disease, I was broke, and I was homeless, and I was out of options, and I called a good friend, and she's very 3D. She's very into this world makes sense to her, and I called her. And she goes, "Oh, well, wanna go to college? Nope. Obama did this and that, and we can go to college." And by the end of the afternoon, I was enrolled in college, in university, to take art. So, that's how that happened, and then as it progressed, I got sicker and sicker because I still was not getting treated for the thyroid problem. Well, oh, I have yes, it's right here. This is Now up here they're ground squirrels, and they call them gophers, but basically they're ground squirrels. And I did this years ago, and I never finished it. It's a little it's a little gopher squirrel, and I never finished it. I did another one when I had miniature horses, and my miniature mare foaled, and the foal had it's called lethal white syndrome, and the vet bill just went through the roof. And I actually traded those veterinarians painted skulls, and that was one of them. Was the really good one that I did, that was itty bitty, and I made it into a necklace, and I think he gave it to his daughter. But I've always traded art in lieu of having money because I never had money. I was gonna tell you, Tasha, if you're still sitting here, someone called me or messaged me on Facebook. Nobody calls me. My phone sits here with the battery pulled out. Um, and I sold 3 T-shirts. I haven't even pulled those T-shirts out in years. And she's like, "Do you still have those T-shirts?" I'm like, "Oh my god, yes, I have like $500 worth of them. I want 3. So you do this thing for money." And I'm like, "I've got money." So she's mailing me uh, the money, and then I'll mail her the T-shirts. So we're talking about me going over there this summer and just sitting with a table like a crazy old lady and just saying, "T-shirts, fuck you, $10." um, let's see. The fan, a sample of fans. Oh my god, yoga. I'm sitting on my bed. So everything is just a little out of reach. But this is kind of a sample of the fans that I used to make. This one is you have to be a mixed blood to have this one, and, but, I made this, like, 1992, maybe 1992, um, still works, it's dirty, but still works. This thing has been in sweats, it has crossed the country, I don't even know how many times, it has done medicine wheels, it has done healing circles, this is I've done good with this one, but I've got photographs of some of the other stuff that I made for dancers. My medicine name is Falling Leaves. So I put these on there because they look like leaves, right? Look what they are. They're tanned chicken feet. This little old lady in uh right outside of Columbus, Montana. Is it Columbus? Yeah, Columbus, Montana. She was having a yard sale, and I would stop at every yard sale. I still do. And road trip, I almost never get there because I'm like, two-headed donkey, we're going. And I mean, I'll go see anything. I was like, did you see that camper in their backyard? Like, go, like, knock on the door. Hi. And I was really bad when I had the other studios. I would stop if somebody had a plant or a tree or something in their yard and it had like interesting pine cones or like interesting pods or something. Because I use those on my wreath. And so, hi, my name's Barb Dwyer, and I do these. Oh God, I can't reach that again. And I do these big wreaths, and you've got a really interesting tree out here. Can I? And I'd have my little paper, my plastic bag. Can I pick up some pine cones? Do you mind? And they'd be like standing there with their beer, you won't pick up pine cones? And I'd be like, yeah, it could. Is that okay? Or you got a really interesting old camper out here. Can we look at it? You won't look at that old camper? You meet a lot of interesting people that way. So anyway, this fellow has been after me for years. Paul, meet Tasha. Tasha, meet Paul. Paul, you should follow Tasha. She's almost up to her whatever number for something. And he's been after me for years to make something for him. And recently, something happened that was very nice for him spiritually. So I started actually feeling better. And God, you wouldn't believe all the hair. Um, so I guess it was about this time last year, wasn't it? And I said, all right, send me something and I'll paint it. And so I gave him the name of a company that I worked with my studio. I really, really like these people. They're really balanced. They're good people. They're not slaughter people. It's called White Fox Fur. Let's see, White Fox. What is it now? Feather and Fur. I'll put a link down. They're in Minnesota, and I bought feathers. I bought hides. I got skull, bone, you name it. He would call me. I got this thing. It's really weird looking. Send it. And then to them, I just disappeared when I closed the studio. So, well, I kind of closed the studio and dumped a soon to be ex at the same time. So that was a little dramatic, but yeah, this is the first thing I've done since then. So it's been a while. And so to me, that's what I mean. I won the war. Um, I do fine art. I do paintings and drawings, and I have arthritis in my hands, and so I don't sculpt as well as I used to. Pretty badass with a weld machine though, but it's hard with glasses, and you gotta have a certain kind of welding face thing. Um, so anyway, Paul contacts these people. They have not heard anything from me in 15 years, something. I didn't even know if they were still in business, and I'm within 2 weeks, I'd sent them like, 3 customers, 3 people. Um, so and then here comes Paul, and so I wanted them to do him right, though, and not that they would do him wrong, they won't. They don't do bad, but I wanted them to understand it was special, and I think I probably pissed them off or something. But, so anyway, a few weeks later, I get this in the mail, and this is a Minnesota black bear. Um, it came with, the receipt for the tags, so it's from a hunt, uh, and I haven't decided if it's male or female yet, I can't tell. I don't have my calipers anymore. The one way that you can tell if they're male or female, otherwise just hold it long enough and it'll tell you. But I'm really ambiguous about this one, and that's kinda odd, but there are ways, like, the distance between the outer edges of the orbits as opposed to the length of the skull, if they're really, really wide across the orbits, they're usually female, etcetera, etcetera. Um, I'm just gonna have to wait for it to tell me. Uh, Pretty young, um, I wanna say, like, 4 years old, 4 years, maybe 5, 4 or 5 years old. Bears on the East Coast, there you go, Montana's gonna hate me. Bears on the East Coast are a lot bigger than they are in Montana, and I really think it's just food. Um, there's just more shit to eat in the summer. Becky's, there's more berries, there's more, there's just more everything. You can eat all the woods, Becky's, but here, you can't. And I think the bear size reflects that along with long winters and they hibernate. But they hibernate in Minnesota too. I mean, Minnesota right now is under like a foot of ice. So when they're harvested, when they hunt, Fish and Game removes the first 2 teeth. The first Yeah, this like this first they're like the only ivories, I think I read. Um, and they sent me the jawbone. So, I'm pretty sure I don't know, this might have to be something else. I don't see this going with this. Um, but if you look on the jawbone, also, they've had that first tooth. I forget what they called it. It's a good sized bear. That's why I'm saying it's like 5 years old. And I should be able to just feel it and know if it's a male or a female, and I'm tending to think female. Um, but I don't have calipers to measure it to be sure. But if it winds up not being female, I'm sure it will let me know by the time I get done. You get really intimate with a piece when you're painting. And what I did, like I say, I found stuff on the side of the road, not bears, but like deer and I did a coyote skull. I found a coyote on the side of the road, bullet hole in his head, and sold it for $600 when I got done with it. And it came with a booklet, and it came with this is what it is, and people are bad about coyote and all this, and I said, "Here's the hole where it went in his head," and, I gave him the whole bit. This is the and this is my feeling about it. And it was like, they are not infringing into our damn world. We are plowing, slashing, burning, and paving into theirs. And they've got smaller and smaller refuge. And I'm in frickin' Montana, guys. Other than Alaska, there is no other place that is the United States. So don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. That's why I live here. I live here because these are my neighbors. And I purely do not like living in a city. I live in a city, uh, and I don't like it. It's too many people. I would rather be out on a horse farm someplace, that you go to town, it's 8 miles to town, to get your shit. Um, but here we go. The reason another reason a reason na na another reason I know that it's a little older, you see this, I call it stitching, but archaeologists call it something else. It's where the bits of their skull, as they age, these will start to fuse and they'll grow together, and it'll look more like this, you know. Um, this stitching is it's pretty tight. Let's see. I have a really nice camera, but it won't talk to my computer to stream using the camera. So, but see how it's ugh, I feel like the weather girl. Um, see how it's all really, really tight together. That tells me he's probably more like 5. He's probably more like 5 and not 2. This would be a big 2-year-old if it was 2. But now I've been here 30 years, so I'm looking at it like Montana and maybe East Coast, Minnesota. A lot of Minnesota is still really, really foresty. Yay! Uh, and very native. So I have no doubt that the bear was taken in a good way because I would know it before I ever even opened the box. Um, I trust. I, I trust. I trust Jay, and it is a quality. This is like museum quality. This is they were good to you, and don't know what I'm looking at. I've shown Paul that the colors that I'm leaning toward, um, that I went and bought, uh, to do this with. I love this because it's still got the sinuses in there, and I love when they've still got the sinuses. It makes it hard as shit to paint, but, when I do it, I paint everything inside the brain cavity, all of it. And I have a horse skull, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I have waited and waited and waited and waited, and I finally was given a horse skull back probably 2003, and I still haven't done it. There's a picture of me, the only photograph of me. You can see the horse skull hanging on the wall behind me. I still haven't painted it because inside the cranium, there's a wasp nest. Well, that's the first sacred law. Death gives life. And so I want to preserve that, and I haven't figured out how. In all these years, I haven't figured out how. These teeth are loose. That's absolutely common, and they've taken the liberty to glue some of these in, so I will probably be trying to take that off, so glue it my way. These it shipped without the incisors, and I think that was just to keep it because this is very, very thin bone here. So I think to send it, I don't know how we're gonna send it. We're gonna insure the shit out of it, I'll tell you that. Um, this bothered me that it's it was a little over. You wash skulls, don't ever put them in bleach. Don't ever put a skull or bone in bleach. It disintegrates them. It's a matter of a bath, and it's a certain mix of oxalic acid, and I mean, it's like a dip, and it's an art form to do it, and it's little cooked, but the paint will preserve it, um, and I am sure I will be told her story, and then what I do is I write that up, and you get that too. And then I do you'll get a thing on, bear medicine, which, like, you wouldn't know. I've been talking to you for, what, 12 years with it, but there is a lot. It's really interesting, one of my friends online too that I know through another group, the group that Neil Gaiman was in, Um, she recently got one of her totem animals. She worked through some really, really core issue stuff, and someone told her what her animal might be, and it was a polar bear. And I'm like, "Ooh, I know a little about that." And so I wrote this spontaneous thing. It's like, no, 7 pages on polar bears because that's one of my animals. And bear is one of my spirit animals. So when he said he was going to send me a bear skull, I was like, really? But then I pulled it out and I was like, holy shit. The only other one in the years I had the studio, I was a guy in North Carolina. It was when I was there for that 9 months or 7 months of hell. Uh, before I came back to Montana, he had a bear skull and he wanted to know if I would paint it. And it was like in exchange for rent. He brought out this skull and I started just shaking. I was like, oh, geez, oh my God. And he said he got it in Idaho, in some kind of, God, I don't even recognize myself, that it was some kind of special invitation hunt, but, out here with game, and outfitters, it's really iffy who, you're gonna get. He hands me the box that this is in, and I go in. It was way bigger than this. It was almost the size of that elk skull. It was huge. And I like, "Oh my god," and he was this famous builder. He built houses for NASCAR people and shit, and it echoed through this big mansion house, and I'm like, "Oh my god." I mean, this bear, and he didn't tell me anything about the bear, and I just held it, and I said, "This bear, you didn't kill this bear. This bear killed itself. This bear is like 30 years old. This is the oldest bear skull I've ever even seen, much less feel it." He was like he was like a legend. He was like a local legend. And the guy says, "Yeah, he was." And it was a whatever special choice, if you're rich enough, you can kill anything. And but the bear was sick. He was old and he couldn't eat as well. And there's no way this man hunted him. And this bear gave himself away. And I wouldn't paint it. I would have been homeless with 2 horses. I mean, well, I would have been living in the barn with the horses, but I wouldn't paint it. I wouldn't touch it. Instead, I helped him find a way to mount it, and that was when I learned about that hot acrylic. I've got a lot of it around here. I just don't have it like right here. I used it in sculpture. When you're at the restaurant and you've got the little plastic things and stuff like that, and it says today's special and it's made out of that plastic. That it's a heat acrylic and you use hot and you can mold it. We did that, and we did it with heat, and then sat it on Christmas lights so that the thing lit up through the skull, and the skull threw a shadow on the ceiling. Um, well, it was an alcove that he had for the trophy, and so instead he gave me a it's called a European mount. That's when it's just the skull and the antlers, and it was an elk that he had done, and I mean, it came out to my waist. This thing was huge, and I'm like, "Holy shit." So I had to take that back and stare at it for like a month because I didn't have time to really dream it, but, he didn't really care. Uh, I care. I tell people when they give me a commission like that I won't touch it until I see it. So you could give me a skull. Like, one of the hardest things I had to do was mail a buffalo skull back to somebody. But it was also hard because I didn't really have the money for it, but I did. Um, I'd always wanted to do a buffalo skull, but I closed down the studio, and there's no way I was letting those people get their hands on that buffalo skull because I knew the woman who sent it to me, and I knew she had done a lot of work on her medicine. So I've got scars on my legs because usually when I used to paint things, I'd hold them in my lap. I used to be a lot thinner, and I would just hold it in my lap, but buffalo skull weighs like 40 pounds just by itself. Be shocked how huge they are. Um, I loved having that studio, but I loved I had, um, bird breeders, people that bred, like, peacocks or, macaw parrots and different kinds of parrots, and one lady, our deal was you just go through and you rake because apparently she had these birds in this big, like, chicken house thing, and this is expensive birds, and I'm like, "Okay," and she goes, "I'm not cleaning all those damn feathers," and I'm like, "I don't want you to. What I want you to do is to go through and when you rake them up and you find the nice ones, you put them in a plastic bag and you send me that plastic bag." And it was usually like a kitchen trash bag. I mean, tiny little feathers from little conures, all the way up to the big macaws and cockatoos. She had a peach cockatoo. She had all these different cockatoos and, peacocks, and I'd get this box, and then she goes, "And you just tell me what you think it's worth." And I sent her 100 damn dollars because it was worth every bit of it, and then I'd be washing them and putting them together. I love messing with feathers. I love doing that. If you don't do it right, though, the mites will eat it up. So, so we have a bear skull. We have the first piece that I've accepted as a commission in I can't even count the years. I mean, I closed the studio in 99, maybe 2000, so 18 years, and we settled on a price, and, then I break this thing that I get then I break a closed symbol, it's a negative belief system from infancy all at the same time. So, what an unbelievable coincidence. Oh, okay, so this arrived, what, like, oh, um, May last year, was it? April, May, something like that. It's been out in every full moon that I've been out in. It came out the one night that I verified with the planetarium, the observatory, that it was the Northern Lights. It came out under the purple sky. It came out for the comet. It came out for solstice. It came out for equinox. Comes out for every full moon if there is a moon. If there isn't a moon, it looks at it through the window. Meaning if there's cloud cover. Missoula is just dismal for sky watching. It's just sad. Um, but it was out for the comet. I did actually see the comet the night before we were supposed to be able to see it, and I did take it out and show it the comet. Um, and the eclipse, even though I bet we had the thickest cloud cover anywhere in the continental United States. It was horrible, but I took it out anyway. One night, I took it out and sat it in the car, locked it in the car so that it could sit in the moonlight, because we were sitting outside. Uh, it'll get blessed and awakened, um, and it doesn't have right now any particular reservations that I can feel, like revulsions or anything like that, and it wasn't traumatized, but it wasn't happy when it was alive. So I don't know what happened. I think this split might be from, the oxalic bath and not a, physical thing, because they do have a lot more moving parts because they're omnivores and they, have the rotating type jaw, whatever, and, that means that more parts of their upper skull has to be mobile. Dude, I got no fucking idea. On these bath things that you go to, it sounds terrible. You know, when you go take those baths, do you guys make music? Like drumming or anything like that? He's probably not even there now. Yeah, gong bath, whatever. We had a thing here called gong show. No, but on a gong bath, do they do songs and shit? Hmm. Because I'm thinking it might make a better rattle or like uh something like that. If I try to make this into a rattle, it's way too much money. But put some bells on it, and it would be music. Um, they've glued it. I'm terrified they've glued it together. Um, but this is not what this is going to sit on. I can tell you that it doesn't. It's just not keen on it. And I meant to look it up to see. I think it hooks there. I think that's it. And my friends used to joke that if ever there's a murder and they find feathers at the murder scene, that they should like contact me because I know a cockatoo's eyelash from a cockatoo's, nose hair. But it's true. I've taken a lot of birds apart, and I might not know all the names for them, but I know where all the shit goes. Well, the skull, we're just gonna insure the shit out of it. But I was thinking, oh no, it's not gonna hurt. No, not when I get done with it. It won't. This is solid shit here, dude. Look, Paul, look at this. This animal could bite your arm in two. This is not a weak. This is not a weak thing here. This is this is this is a this is a predator who has no predators. Bears are at the top of the predator list, not counting humans. That's why they walk around like they own the fucking place because they kind of fucking do. And she was pretty. I just have a feeling that something wasn't right, and uh, we could help. We could help with while painting it. I'll be talking to her and see. It may just be lack of habitat. It may be that there's no telling. But her teeth weren't bad, but they are really worn down for a 5-year-old. And so I'm wondering if it's something in habitat. She might have been she might have been a third strike. Usually in most states in the US, when a bear encounters people, like they come up and start eating your garbage, whatever, and say Fish and Game has to trap them, they'll tag them. They put a tag in their ear, and in most states, it's 3 strikes, and then they issue a tag to hunt them down because then they're considered nuisance bears, and they're considered a danger. Don't even get me started because it just pisses me off, because they just killed 2 mountain lions. I saw an article. No, they killed 1 mountain lion and then saw 2 someplace else or something, and I was just like, saw red because 2 years ago, Montana burned. It was the biggest fires since the big fire of 1911, 1912, which is where wildfire fighting started, was right here in Missoula, Montana. This is where it started. The first smoke jumpers started here, and the first smoke jumpers, all but 2 of them died, or 3. All but 3 of them died. I'm weird about firefighting, but this entire state burned, and Visibility was unbelievable. You couldn't breathe, couldn't go outside, and I worried about firefighters and the animals. And I said, did I not, Paul? I said, what's going to happen is in 1 or 2 years, these predators are going to come down out of the hills and they're going to encroach on humans because humans make garbage. And their prey, deer, squirrels, I mean, bears eat anything. Bears eat moths. I mean, they're documented. Grizzlies are documented in Glacier when they first wake up from hibernation. The first week, they do nothing but flip rocks and eat moth larvae. But it's because it's such high protein. All of that's gone. A lot of glacier burned, and they're not really being straight up about how much burned. You're like, our 100-year-old lodge burned. Oh, 1,000 elk and deer were killed because people move up from this other state where they have no fucking clue about nature. They buy these ranchettes, 20 acres, and the first thing they do is they build a fence around it. Mine, it's mine, it's all mine. Animal running in a wildfire cannot stop at a fence. Uh, a doe with a fawn, the fawn cannot get across the fence. They go deeper and deeper into the wilderness areas, and the wilderness areas, just since I have lived here, are not half the size they were when I got here. As far as wildlife, since the fires, I haven't seen any deer. Maybe one, maybe two. And I saw an article that there were elk seen in Hamilton, which is like 20 miles that way, 20 miles west. That's not here. I live here. So when these predators show up, these types expect them to be put down, just like they did them in California. But this ain't California, kids. And they were here first. And I have a big problem with that. It was a couple of years ago, an elk walked up to a woman at a, she's just on a road, probably, I would think she's probably out by the river, now by the Blackfoot, the Rattlesnake, out that way. It's west of here. And she was on the back of a motorcycle, and supposedly this elk walked right up to her, and she complained to Fish and Game, and they sent out a hunter. I went apeshit. I did. I fucking wrote John Tester, goddamn, get out of here. Go to this ain't no, every year I have to post because oh, so and so got hurt by an elk in Yellowstone, or they got hurt by a bear in Yellowstone, or they got hurt by a buffalo in West Yellowstone. They used to do T-shirts at the end of the year, and it said bears, tourists, and it was a body count. Who how many who died the most each year. Now West Yellowstone, when I first moved up here, it was a different Montana. It wasn't what it is now, and I thought West Yellowstone had the right idea. It's our bears. Um, it's their land, and I didn't move up here to be with a bunch of Malibu Barbies. I moved up here for them, to be close to them, to know nature that remembered being free. And there's less and less of it to do that in now, 30 years later. So This bear is from Minnesota. She's probably a three-striker. I think I figured it out. She's a three-striker. That would explain the wear in her teeth, and it would explain why she was so unhappy. Um, well, crotchety. She's unhappy. We'll just say it that way, because when a bear's unhappy, that's like the last thing you know. "Oh, that bear looks unhappy." All of the different bears teach a different medicine. In the beginning of, Spirit, I think they said it the best, Spirit Dance by Peter Buffett. They said, "In the beginning of all things, the creator didn't speak to humans in a direct way, and so he sent the animals and the plants in order to teach us how to live here on the earth, with the other children of the earth mother." We haven't done very good at that. We haven't done that very well at all. So, I'll write up a thing about bear. That bear medicine is the dream. Bears hibernate, and so they are the keepers and protectors of the dream. And in accordance with the colors of the directions, black bear is the keeper and protector of the dreams of women and of the body and the sacred feminine. It's west. It's where the sun sets, and that's the place of woman. The intuitive, the introspective, the sacred feminine, which is what dreaming is. But then again, we're dreaming right now. Polar bear is the keeper and protector of a different kind of dream. And grizzly bear sits in the east because he's kind of gold colored, and they teach something different. And then in the center is the spirit bearers, or some people would put a panda in the center because it's black and white. And I don't like that. They're not Turtle Island. Let's just stick to Turtle Island right now. There are lots of other bears. Let's just stick to the hood, to the neighborhood. And so in the center is where I would put the spirit bear, such as the thunder bear. The thunder bear is the keeper and protector of the sacred dream of the soul. Grizzly bear is the keeper and protector of the sacred dream. The polar bear is the keeper and protector I forgot what I wrote, but usually it has to do with the keeper and protector of the sacred something of the mind, of mathematics and of science, of the great solitude. And that's a big thing. I mean, I wrote it up, so you're gonna get one of these on a black bear too. So and I just don't know what it's gonna say yet. I've had a lot of close encounters with black bears. With it, with as my spirit bear, no, you won't be seeing me going North Pole for a close encounter with a polar bear. No, thank you. I'm good. I'm all right. I'm fine. I'm, we're good because polar bears are the size of my horse. They're fucking huge. There was when we moved to Bozeman, the littlest mall I've ever seen in my life. I mean, me and my son both went, "Oh, look at this little mall." I mean, it really was the size of a strip mall in Georgia, but it was I forget what they called it, but anyway, it was the Bozeman Mall. And we go walking in, and there is right there in a glass case. As soon as you walk in, is a stuffed polar bear. I couldn't believe how huge they are. So I won't be heading up. You won't be seeing no dog sledding for me to touch that sacred medicine. No, because the big thing is in the warrior path, you go out to be touched by, touch your medicine with beauty. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm I'm class. I did do some artwork for the Grizzly Bear Center though a long time ago, and went down and helped install it. One of the worst blizzards West Yellowstone has seen. Um, I lived with 2 chainsaw artists, and they got the commission, and I did a design, and they made it, and the Kelly Inn, like a hotel, bought it, and it was made out of tree trunk, and it was, he made it with chainsaws, and it was a, mountain lion that would, like, lean over and look at people when they pulled in at the hotel, and so we got to go down and we got paid to go down and help install it in a blizzard, so we just said, "Well, screw it," so we got drunk. But that was a long time ago, that was way long ago, that was back in Bozeman. Um, I'm the only person I know because I lived with those guys, we shared a cabin, and, well, they leased the garage apartment, and I had the cabin, and, it was the way blue cabin, and to this day, I mean, because I worked graveyard at the Gallant Gateway Inn, so I got home at 7 a.m. Well, they started work at 7 a.m., and that means chainsaws right outside your window. I'm the only person I know who the sound of chainsaws actually makes me sleepy. I'm thinking, "Oh, time to go to bed. I hear the chainsaw." So I got over that. But, yeah, they were cool guys. I like them. Uh, grizzly bear, because they're so prolific up here, and now we've had the fires, and now they have nothing. There was, like, 3 encounters this summer with grizz up in Glacier because that's the biggest concentration of grizzly bears, and, I won't go up there because of that. But, a grizzly bear was the keeper of the sacred dream, and your sacred dream is when what you love to do in life, what you love to do, and you do it for nothing, but you find a way to make it how you make your living. That's your sacred dream. It's how you give away to life and others, and it takes care of you at the same time. So, sacred dream is tough to find. It's tough to make that work out, and it doesn't always work out for everybody. But that's Grizz. A grizzly bear can outrun a horse at 800 yards, and because of that, he was believed to be the keeper and protector of the sacred portals. It was believed that grizzly bear could jump through portals and go through the dream and come around behind you, that they could do impossible things with space and time and movement. It's very common to hear people say, you can see a grizz, like, say you're on top of the ridge and you see a grizz, he's like this big down by the river. You're pretty much fucked if you see one, but you see him this big down by the river. Most of the people who are mauled, says it was 500 yards away, and they, like, turn around, and there she is. I mean, it, like, disappears into the scrub, and it's, like, right beside them. That's grizzly bear medicine. Fold space. Space is not an issue to grizz, and I do have that medicine because I can do that. Um, I gotta be really pissed, though. But, yeah, I can fold space. So that yeah, I don't need to be touched by that medicine. Uh, thought I had oh, I guess not. Um, remember when we got the kittens? Oop, little avalanche there. Wrestle bear. This was wrestle bear so that they could claw the bear and not claw me. Just show that wrestle bear. They dwarf him now, and I have to keep him on the shelf because they hate him. But there are no native bears in the UK. There never have been. I looked it up. If there were, it got loose from a circus or something. It's never been native where she's going. And so I guess it's good that she was kinda peopleized, and I'll figure that out while I'm painting. Um, I tried to make my camera talk to the computer, and it the brand, it's a Sony one-shot, like, D300. It needs to be like a D800. It's just, like, this much from being smart enough. I'm still trying to hopefully find somebody who can help me rig something, so I don't have to go buy a camera, but I can't keep doing this. And I just can't. So I wanted the next one to be, I just work in paint, and then I'll talk in paint, and it'll be, like, on probably what the bear's telling me, and probably, anecdotes of a magical life, some boring bullshit. But, they did a really good job cleaning this skull. Like I said, a little overcooked, but I couldn't have done this well. I couldn't have done this well with it. I'm too impatient. I can't do this part. Uh, some interesting shit going on here. I'm gonna have to look that up. I mean, you see the knit. I call that the knit. It's just where sections of the bone overlap or whatever. But this is very interesting. It's like wear on the bone, and I guess it's from the jaw. I guess it is from the jaw. And then this is like a calcification of some sort. So I'm thinking she was in some kind of pain. Something wasn't right, and she was grouchy. Is the thing. She was a bitch. She was not tame, and bears are not like dogs, okay? They are not like dogs. They are not like cats. They are like bears, and they don't follow cat rules, and they don't follow dog rules, and that's how so many people get hurt. In the wild, there is I've said this 'cause I lived in nature. Tasha knew that, but, I mean, I lived in nature for, like, 6 years. And they were the happiest years of my life if it hadn't been for the man I was with. There's a line in Dances with Wolves, it says, "Were it not for my companion, I'd be having the time of my life. Were it not for my companion, I would still fucking be there. I would have never come out." But, I learned a lot from the animals there, and yeah, let's see, it's that grind right there, like, she was eating, like, horse feed or something. It's very possible that's probably what she was doing, was breaking in and eating grain. They don't eat grains. Well, I mean, they eat anything, but I didn't I would've if I could've, sell my house in Georgia. I would've sold it for a lot more had it not been trashed, um, and move up to Montana, set up a trust fund, buy 20 acres of land so that I could sit here for 4 months and get the no sales tax residency and then go back to California and earn money. No, and I've had all I'm gonna listen to of these women in their I call it the uniform. It's yoga pants, Uggs boots, um, LL Bean or Eddie Bauer, vest, and then like a turtleneck, like a ski looking thing with their Starbucks, their brand new whatever edition four-wheel drive car that they bought in LA, telling me how much they gave up to move to Montana. We gave up a lot to live here. I didn't give up a lot to live here. I gave up everything. So I speak for them, and there's a lot of locals that do not like it because I have got their number. But that's like my ultimate dream is just 30-foot, 30 yeah, 30-foot camper. I could do it again with another 30-foot camper, a nice truck, 30-foot camper, uh, yeah, and then a patch of land to put it on. Do a 99-year lease up in Ronan, maybe Polson, depends on Flathead or Blackfoot, whichever. 99-year lease, I won't be here 99 years. Put a shed out there. Okay, septic tank, Wi-Fi, but, I'm pretty fucking if I was a horse, you would call me an easy keeper because I don't really have expenses, and I would go back out there in a second. Uh, wow, Minnesota feels way different than here. The only time I went through Minnesota in the winter was, I don't even remember when. I think I was hauling horses, and driving through Minnesota, I guess it's like Wisconsin, Minnesota. I don't remember the order of the northern states, but we were on that upper tier interstate, and there was this road, like a dirt road right off the interstate, not on the other side of a fence and not like a frontage road. I'm talking right the hell beside the damn road, all the way through Wisconsin and Minnesota. And I was like, "What the hell is that?" So finally I asked, and I forget, we were either picking up a horse or something, and I asked, and snowmobile. It was a snowmobile road. So in the winter, nobody drives their cars, they all drive the snowmobile, and I was like, "Well, if you guys didn't have all these damn tornadoes, I'd like it here. This would be cool. This is alright. This is I could do this." But the tornado thing, grew up in Georgia. I'm kinda done. I've touched that medicine. Uh, I love Montana. I don't wanna leave Montana. I might have to, but I don't want to. I hate what they've done to it, and to my last breath, I'll fight them. I will. I'll badmouth them, and I'll fight them. Every last damn one of them. Take your shit and go home. This ain't this ain't no party. But the thing I write in with the West Yellowstone thing every year. This ain't no damn petting zoo. Those are real wild animals. This is the real woods, and those are real teeth. Uh, there was a guy got drunk in Yellowstone earlier this year, and he was harassing, I don't remember, elk, maybe a bear, maybe nah, I don't think he was harassing a bear. But he pissed a lot of people off. And then he goes someplace else in Montana and was harassing wildlife. I was like, dude, don't you come to Montana? Don't you come to Missoula? Don't you do it? So he wound up getting arrested and getting deported out of Montana. I was like, yay! Take about 1,000 Californians with you. Take them with ya. So I did look up some stuff on the UK. You guys have a poisonous snake over there. Did you know that? One. One kind of poisonous snake. It would have to be down around Bournemouth someplace. It would have to be somewhere really south. That's some weird looking fucking worms though. Creepy looking shit. But one snake. And I'm like, we moved here from Georgia, and my son, he was like 11, I think, at the time. And we moved here and we looked, we were at the fishing game, or I think we were at the Forest Service because I was finding out about rehabbing uh, raptors. And they had that pretty much sewn up, oh, Montana blood. And but I was still finding out about stuff, and we're looking at the snakes. It's like the rattlesnake, the Western Diamondback. We looked at each other, we're like, "Oh, one kind of snake and it warns you." We're like, "Yes." Because in Georgia, you've got copperhead, you've got pygmy rattlers, you've got eastern diamondback, far more deadly than a western diamondback, got water moccasin, got coral snake, which is the only true adder in the northern 48. Oh, yay, we had them in Georgia. I think I got them all. And they were all where I grew up. To this day, I cannot step over a log if we're walking in the woods. I cannot do it. You have to tap the log with your foot first because copperheads like to lay up under. But they're beautiful. I think they're the most beautiful snake that there is. Um, but yeah, so we're like, one, one. And the other thing was no fleas. Ticks. We've got no fleas. What do you want to know about your bear? Anything yet? Intend on getting monetized? I didn't even do anything. She called me she contacted me out of nowhere, wanted the t-shirts. I'll have to show them to you next time. Next time, because good God, it's already been an hour. Okay. All right, then. This will be starting soon, probably like tonight. I don't know if I'll stream it tonight. Um, I got to rig up something. Let me show you. This is my big work area. This is where I sit at the computer when I'm in bed. But there's it's just a desk, and the box is for the skull when it's wet, so the cats won't molest it. And I cleared a shelf in the hall closet too. I don't think they will. I've kind of had it out and kind of been teaching them about you don't fuck with this. I had cats. I mean, when I had my studios, and they would not touch a fucking feather in the house. I mean, they go out and kill birds, but they would not touch a feather in that house. Um, so that's where it's going to sit. So I figured the computer will still sit here, but it'll have to point that way. It points into the sunlight, which, look at my lighting. That's a towel over the curtain because the sun blares in during the probably about, I don't know, about 11 until, I don't know, 3, something like that. So it'll change the lighting and I'll be faced right into it. Because I don't dare put it on the other side because the cats jump up to get in the window and they need that space. I was going to put my books up and I can't because they eat on the shelves. I have Mischief eats down there, and I did it again. Mystic eats down there, and Hendry eats up on the second shelf. And then the top has to stay clear because they'll come in from the window and lay on top to look out. So I can't put it over there because they'll jump on it. So, oops, sorry, Henry. He's sleeping. Ooh. He's mama's boy, but don't tell anybody because he's a big tough guy. And Mystic is right there on the chair. Do you see her? That's my girl. There. That's my girl. 9 months. Yeah. Yeah. So we have to call the vet. You're both on my channel. Oh my god, I'm on her channel. I have no hair product, okay? I'm old. I shouldn't be worried about hair product, but I took one look in the mirror and went, "Oh my god, it's like HR puff and stuff." Yeah, she ate her food and waited until I wasn't looking because I was watching an archaeology video, jumped up and ate his food. And he served some serious attitude and kicked our ass from one end of this house to the other for like 2 or 3 hours. Henry, he's moody. He's the moodiest male I've ever had. He makes faces. He's pretty interesting. She is a freaking killer. She needs to lose some weight though. I'm worried it's her thyroid. So, yeah, it's abnormal. She's like 12, 13 pounds now. So she has to go to the vet. She's too big. I cut her food back and she's starving to death. So something's not right. So let's get that worked out. Henry, typical guy. Oh, I can eat whatever I want and I just don't gain any weight. And he doesn't though. He's a finicky eater. Um, I'll have to get the t-shirt out. I don't think. Hang on, I do have one. I can see it from here. Hold on. Pretend there's music playing. Here. Ouch, ouch. Yeah, my butt. Good, good. Is that you? So I had these made back when I was going to tech. I was going to Montana Tech. So that's probably about 2010, 2011. I had these made. I ordered black and white because they have a big motorcycle rally here in Butte. And we used to call it the poor man's Reno, poor man's Sturgis. But Evel Knievel grew up in Butte. And so it's huge. The town swells it. So I had this. It says Butte, America. Same planet, different world. And then those are some of my dragons. And Butte is famous. This is for Tasha. Butte is famous for probably being the most toxic town in the lower 48. They have an open pit that can be seen from outer space. That the water content is roughly but more acidic than stomach acid. And every couple of years, it kills a bunch of birds that are migrating. It's huge. It's called the Berkeley Pit. It's the highest concentration of thyroid disease anywhere in the United States. You got 80-year-old women walking around on respirators who've never smoked a cigarette in their life. And leave your hair alone. So did you see this? So the dragons are swimming in the pit. And that big thing that the lifeguard's sitting on, that's called a head frame. And they use those in the mines. And I haven't even thought about these in several years. And yeah, a friend wrote me out of nowhere. And I said, well, clear the lot across from your house because this summer we're selling all these. I'm just going to sit out there and drink coffee and They still do the Montana Folk Festival there, and she lives right behind it. So I'll be like, "No, I don't have a vendor permit. I'm not in town either. I'm in Walkerville." And then just send friends walking around wearing the shirt. Last time I did that, I sold like $300 worth. But school got in the way, sick got in the way. Uh, um, yeah, Butte's kind of excited. They kind of wanted me to come back. Like, Butte, are you crazy? Uh, no, I made good friends there. Of all the places I lived, ooh, sweetgrass. Of all the places I lived, um, Butte's the only place I lived that I actually made friends. Tasha Loves You channel. Hey, Tasha Loves You channel. Is there actually anybody watching this? Are you serious, Tasha? I went to Butte. Well, I was living someplace else, and I got a job tending bar for an actual wage. Like it was like $10 an hour. It's this new place, new bar that opened, et cetera, et cetera. But I knew the first time I ever drove to Butte. I was like, "Oh, what's the matter with this? What's the matter with this town? Because I think I like this." And I made good money over there uh, until, but this is sweetgrass. This sweetgrass, and I'm doing a protection thing for the screen, banishing protection, so that shit doesn't come in here anymore. I'm sick of that media stuff in the world spewing into my house, getting on me, because it literally makes me sick. I can't be around it. Like some stuff happened um, with another group that I've been active with for, God, 10 years now. And something that we thought we had pretty much handled. So, right after the big break, I had to go overseas and take care of some business. And I just blew out too much energy. I can't do that anymore. I'm a crone. I have to just sit around and be wise and shit. um, Butte is actually a pretty freaking cool place. Cause the reason I went there was I was invited. Um, it was, had the opportunity to, to work, at the bar and make a lot of money, and I fucking did. But there was also this big, gaping, poisonous hole in the ground. The ground is poison. There's strychnine. There's all kinds of mining poison in the dirt, and it's in the air. In the cold weather, the pit, the water in the pit is about to come over the top of the pit now. When I moved there, it was at the bottom of that pit. It was almost a mile down. Now it's at the top. But in cold weather, it will make fog, like rainbow fog. It's poison fog. That pit makes this fog that goes all over the city. And I lived just down the street from it. I mean, I lived 10 blocks. And you breathe that. And at night, when the sun's going down, the whole town, the whole city, because there would be uptown and then you got the flats. You look out across the valley and you can see the whole city, the whole town turns gold and the air sparkles. That's not good. That's from mining. That's silt. That's whatever it is, silica floating in the air. And it needed somebody to come talk to it, to come say prayers. And I did. I did. until I couldn't anymore. But I blame that's where I got sick. I mean, that's where the thyroid stuff happened. It could have been a culmination of other things, but the environment didn't help at all. But the people there, oh, they're amazing. They're amazing. Uh, I should be going back over there probably this spring. I know I'm going this spring, but yeah, I miss it, and I just wish it wasn't so toxic for me. Like right down the road, well, right down the road in Montana is like 35 miles one way, but in a town in between Butte and a town called Anaconda, somewhere either just before or just after Anaconda is a town called Opportunity. And Opportunity is the highest concentration of cancer in the United States. And the Anaconda Mining Company, is a mine there too. And that's where the coke chimneys were. And I mean, even dogs and horses over there get it. And houses are real cheap. But I felt like that would be kind of pushing my luck. Uh, anyway, I like Uptown Butte. Uptown Butte's built like Dublin, and there everybody's drunk. It's a great place. It really is. So I do miss it. But yep, I said my prayers for the pit. Montana is so freaking magical. It really is. All right. I think that's enough. I think we'll just shut up now. Um, Paul says he has no questions. Tasha, thank you. Thank you. Um, Russell Bear says thank you. Oh, you have to meet the dragon too. Um, you can see him sitting up here. That's Booyah. And Booyah is a puppet. And he used to talk to kids. And mostly, he didn't have any kind of show or anything. Booyah would just sit with the kids at the hospital, whatever, and he kinda had a running commentary on whatever they were watching on TV. Uh, and he needs a bath. I need to figure out how to wash it. So, anyhow, there we go. Thanks for watching. Oh, and Tasha, you might have seen that I think I broke my toe the other day. I got the medicine stuff out to look at rocks. Yeah, I caught my pinky toe with it, so right now I'm mad at it, and it's just sitting in the middle of the floor. So that'll be a private thing, we'll go through that. And thanks, and thanks for watching. Happy trails. Ah, Kahestima, which means you dance in my heart. Night.